There's a lot of questions in this group, dude.
A lot of questions. I think the most safe answer I can give you is that Belgium will top this group.
Yeah.
Belgium will top this group. Coached by Domenico Tedesco, ranks number 3 in FIFA's rankings. They topped their Euros qualification group in style with 22 goals for, only 4 goals against. This is a group that they shared with Austria and Sweden. So 2 formidable sides. Timothy Castagne, Kevin De Bruyne, Yuri Tillemans, Axel Witsel, Romelu Lukaku, Trossard, Doku, and Openda. Some really good names on this team, but one big one that's going to be missing is the absence of Thibaut Courtois, who will not be at this tournament after, upon my research, seeing that there's a bit of a fallout, bro, between player and coach, where ultimately the gist that I got was that he refused a selection after an argument with Tedesco about being captain. And from what I'm hearing from the Belgians, Courtois got a bit of an ego, man.
Oh, he's definitely got an ego, bro. Yeah, I mean, he chose the great Atleti betrayal by going to Real Madrid, and he was happy to do it. Like, he was eager. He was shaking Florentino Perez's hand with a big smile on his face, even though Atleti had given him everything. Wow. So it's been pure. He used, instead of seeing Atletico as like a home, he used it as a stepping stone.
My goodness.
So that's pure ego. Fuck him.
Yeah, I get it, bro. Yeah, you and as a Atleti fan, I get it, bro. I completely forgot that he was there too. That's crazy that you haven't forgotten, but it makes sense. So Courtois will not be here. And I think it's interesting because it kind of represents, in a way, the fall of Belgium's defense, in my opinion, with no Courtois now back there, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And just looking at the clubs that all these defenders now pertain to, Fulham, Anderlecht, Leicester City, Trabzonspor, Club Brugge, and Rennes. Whereas in the past, you had Premier League talent or Premier League players that play for the Belgian national team defending that back line. I think there's been a major drop-off specifically in that sector of the pitch. Where there hasn't is in the midfield with the one and only Kevin De Bruyne leading this team as easily the best player for them and now getting into really good form after coming back from injury for Manchester City and now preparing himself for this major tournament.
Overall, I agree. I think that's actually the main narrative for Belgium going into this tournament is how are they in this transitionary phase of this national team? Because the golden generation, right, went to the semifinal of the 2018 World Cup, and starting in 2016, people really had high hopes for Belgium. That's when they started entering the top 5 of the FIFA rankings and established themselves as one of the best international teams in the world. And so pretty much since 2016, people had Belgium as title contenders, you know? Could they actually take this golden generation and turn it into silverware? Here's a fun fact. Belgium are the only team in FIFA history to have topped the FIFA rankings and not win any major tournaments. They've never won the Euros, and they've never won the World Cup. The Netherlands are historically the best team that's never won the World Cup, but they won the Euros in '88.
They got the Euros.
Damn, so the Belgium has never won anything.
God, that trophy cabinet's empty.
It's empty.
Yet they've amassed such incredible heights.
Yes, that's the thing. And I think honestly that translates to a whole lot of pain for this Belgian team, man. A whole lot of pain because I honestly, I even thought that they were going to lift some sort of title at a certain point, but last time's World Cup, I think, was the end of the golden generation definitively. Eden Hazard was a part of that squad, bro. Like, isn't that crazy?
That's nuts,
like,
man.
I can't believe that. It seems like Hazard played so long ago, but he actually featured for Belgium a year and a half ago. But I think that was definitely the signaling of the death of the golden generation. But I will say, if you compare him to like Germany's transitional period, Spain's transitional period, honestly, it might be a quick rebirth for Belgium because, I mean, when you look up top, there's some players that are in fine form, my friend. Jeremy Doku, he's going to be a menace down that left wing. He's 21, 22 years of age. He's just getting going too. Bagged himself a title with Manchester City this season. And once he came to City, Pep pretty much integrated into the team pretty quickly. Like, it came to the point where it was Doku over Grealish this season. I think that's a massive point to make. And then on the other side, you have Leandro Trossard in his prime, a more creative type winger who likes to cut inside. We've seen the impact that he's had at Arsenal. Coming from Brighton, Mikel Arteta immediately put him in rotation. Starts one game, comes off the bench in the other, starts the next game. Like, he is one of the go-to guys for Arteta and got second place, very close behind City this this season in the Premier League. That's who you have on the wings, bro. You have Romelu Lukaku, who, for as much criticism as he gets, he's still an elite striker. Let's not forget that. And then if you have Kevin De Bruyne pulling the strings of that offensive three, that's a hell of an offense, man. You can't prove me otherwise. And then off the bench, you can bring on Luca Bacchio from Sevilla. You can bring on Lois Openda as well from RB Leipzig. There's some good offensive talent, bro, that's waiting to be unleashed for Belgium. And it's all young, minus Lukaku and De Bruyne. So I think there's a really good integration going on between the veterans that have remained and the young players that are coming through. Because when you look at the players behind De Bruyne, you could put Yuri Tielemans and Onana, a really good defensive pairing that are also very good off the pass, bro. So I think from the midfield and offensive perspective of Belgium, bro, they're one of the best, honestly, even though they're pretty young, all things considered. Where it does get hairy, though, is the defense, right? And I think that's where we're really going to see if Belgium gets tested. Maybe not in this group, but I think that's where Belgium might get, a little wavery here once they get to the knockout stage and play against Europe's best. But either way, I think the offense that they boast will be enough to remain competitive against anybody at the Euros.
I have their wingers listed as the most exciting sector, the most exciting part of this Belgian team. I really like the idea of Jeremy Doku finally getting the keys to this Belgian wing offense, if you will, and Leandro Trossard as well on the other side. I think that's really, really positive, man. I think that's really, really good. One guy at Arsenal, one guy at Manchester City, like two top clubs in the world. I love that pairing. Up top, it gets really interesting because Lukaku obviously is an elite striker and has been the go-to guy for Belgium. I think he is going to end up starting these matches. But I'm curious to see how Tedesco manages the presence of Lois Openda, who had like almost 25 goals in the Bundesliga this year with RB Leipzig, and he's been working his way up the ranks these past 2-3 years, going off for RC Lens in Ligue 1 when they got second place just last year, then getting bought out by RB Leipzig and going off for them in the Bundesliga as well. His improvement has been massive. He's 24 years old right now, whereas Lukaku's 31. I think it's worth noting, or at least worth trying out, especially in this group where it's going to be such a ultimately easy matchup for them. I think you should try Openda for one match.
Yeah.
Start him up top for one match, maybe against Slovakia, maybe against Romania, and kind of gauge which player is in better form throughout their tournament, because I do think they have two really good focal points up top, and it's just a matter of making the right pick. I think Lukaku's a safer option because of the experience, and he will get that. I think he will get that selection, but just keep Openda on your radar. That's all I'm asking for Tedesco, because I think he could do some damage if he finds himself with the opportunity.
Yeah, it'll be super exciting to see the youngster in Openda, to see him actually establish himself as a menace, as a force going forward for Belgium. But that's why I like Belgium, man, is they have a lot of these players. Even you could extend this to Tielemans and Onana as well. They haven't really played at major international tournaments as the go-to guys for their country. Now they get this opportunity. And I think Openda, knowing that Lukaku's not on his way out, but is getting older, I think Openda can get excited himself that he will see the pitch. He can have an impact. And what I like about Belgium in general is, though, is I like the Tedesco's rotation. Throughout this entire qualification campaign, he really has rotated out this offensive line to see what works best, what players he wanted to bring to the Euros, what players mesh well with the midfield. I like Tedesco as a manager. I think he's really good at seeing which players fit best in his system, not just picking the best players individually. That's what I'm really excited about. But just to point out that hole one more time, I think Vertonghen's still playing as the center back, and he's like, what, 38? 38? Yeah.
I don't know, man.
That's kind of crazy,
I don't
man.
know. We'll see.
He's been the go-to guy in a lot of these matches for Belgium. I won't be surprised if he starts. But yeah, he'll have that Pepe effect. Maybe he's still got it. I haven't seen him really play that much since he's now playing in Belgium. But
doesn't Witsel play center back for Belgium more too?
No, that's the thing, though, is that Witsel always was a defensive midfielder for Belgium. It was Simeone who turned him into a center back. I don't know if that translation's been made fully at international level. So I wonder if Witsel even sees the pitch as a starter because of that. I really do wonder. I think they have left back issues as well. I think their starting left back Teat might have injury issues. I'm not sure if he's going to make it. So yeah, the back line of Belgium is definitely their weakest point.
I think it's interesting, though, how this time it feels like there's not any pressure on Belgium. And yet they're still ranked number 3 in the FIFA rankings. They still have incredible names. Kevin De Bruyne's still playing football. Lukaku's still here. But I feel like the pressure's gone. And it might be because of the impact that losing out on the 2022 FIFA World Cup had, the nail in the coffin, as you called it earlier. I feel like that almost had a lasting effect on the Belgian fans and maybe the rest of the media from outside the world, in that, you know, we kind of forgot about Belgium. We've kind of just put them off the radar. We kind of just left them out for dead. And maybe this ends up benefiting them mentally, because now they don't feel that weight. They don't feel that pressure of having to deliver with what was their golden generation. Now they can just play free-flowing football under a new head coach, by the way. I think that might end up being a really positive after effect of what happened at the 2022 FIFA World Cup.
Wow, dude, I didn't even realize this, but subconsciously, now it's coming to my main conscious. I've seen this Belgium side as, I see them as a promoted team, a team that got promoted, but has a lot of skill. They splashed a lot of cash over the summer. So now they have a lot of new players that are young, and they might be able to make a big impact. But because they're so new, there's no pressure on them. I don't have any pressure on this Belgian side, but I expect them to top this group, and I expect them to play very well no matter who they face in the round of 16 and quarterfinals, because they have insane talent. But you're right, dude. Like, if Belgium lose in the round of 16, I'll be like, yeah, it's a job well done.
Hard on them anymore, because we're kind of used to it. I'm gonna be honest, but looking like at the context, looking at what's going on internally for the team, there has been a lot of improvements, a lot of good things happening. My biggest question to you and to the people watching is, do they go past quarterfinals?
Yeah, I would say no. I think quarterfinals is their max, but if they get a favorable draw and they've shown throughout the tournament that they're actually firing on all cylinders offensively and their defense looks okay, I might give them a shout for semis, but I'm going to say quarters.
I'm actually with you. I think max quarterfinals here. Anything beyond that, then I will truly be surprised, and props to them if they do. It would be an amazing thing. But for me, I do have Belgium getting to the quarterfinals max.